All right, so we're given the graphs of two inequalities, and it says which section should be shaded to show the solution to the system. So graphing inequalities is just like graphing equations, except that you have to shade on one side of the line. So if we look at this first, so the first thing we need to do is figure out which of these lines goes with which equation. And so let's look at the first, or I shouldn't say equation, inequality. These aren't equations, they're inequalities. Let's look at the first one here, because this one's in slope-intercept form. And so I know that the coefficient of x here, this -3, is the slope. And a negative slope is like this. It's a decreasing function. And so if I look at the two graphs here, I know that it's this line that goes with the top equation. Sorry, I keep saying equation, inequality. So this one on the top goes with the black line here. So that one goes with that. And so, of course, that means that the other one goes with the red one. So now that I have those straight, now I can work on the shading part. So for the shading, what you want to do is you want to plug a point. So you want to pick a point on the graph and you want to plug it into the inequality and see if that point is a solution to the inequality or not. And if it is, then you shade on that side. If it's not, then you shade on the other side. Now, the easiest point to typically pick is 0, 0. And this, I don't love this graph because it's kind of hard to tell if the line goes through 0, 0. But if I look at the inequality, this 2.5 is the y-intercept. So it crosses the y-axis at 2.5, not at 0. So I know it doesn't go through 0, and in fact, it's above 0. So I'm going to check the point 0, 0. And if 0, 0 is a solution to this first inequality here, again, I'm focusing on the top one. If 0, 0 is a solution, then that would mean I would shade this side of that line. If 0, 0 is not a solution, I would shade the other side. And then we'll do the same thing with the red line. Okay, so let's take the first one and I'm going to plug in 0, 0. So, and I'm going to use 0, 0 for both of these inequalities. And so when I take the first one, I get 0 is less than or equal to -3 times 0 plus 2.5. And so I simplify this down and I get 0 is less than or equal to 2.5. And that is true. 0 is less than or equal to 2.5. So that means I'm going to shade on the side where the 2.5 is. So I'm going to shade on this side over here. I know that's beautiful shading. Okay. So right now I know my answer is either in section D or it's in C. So it's either here or it's here. And the next graph is going to determine that. So again, I'm going to use 0, 0. And so this one I can clearly see is above 0. So if 0 works for the red line, then I'll shade this side, which will mean that C is my solution. If 0, 0 doesn't work, I'll shade the other side, which will mean D is my solution. All right, so let's look at the other one. So I'm going to plug in 0, 0. Let me switch my pen here. So I plug in 0, 0. And so I have -4 times 0 plus 3 times 0 is greater than or equal to 17. Simplify this. So the left side, that's just 0 plus 0. So that's 0 is greater than or equal to 17. That is not true. That's false. So 0, 0 is not a solution. And so let me point this out. So I tested this point 0, 0. That's on this side of the red line. It didn't work. It wasn't a solution. So that means the solutions are on the other side. So that's this side. And so that means my solutions are going to be in this section here. This is where they're both shaded. So you're looking for where the shading overlaps. And so it overlaps in this section above the red line and below the black line. And so that means my solution is D. D is the section that should be shaded. All right. So keep up the good work and you will master the math.